So I'm sure you clicked on this video because you're wondering, well, what is the one thing that I'm doing wrong? And I'm going to tell you. What's up? Jonathan Shane, a functional nutritional therapy practitioner specializing in metabolic health and women's hormones. If you haven't hit that subscribe button, please do. If you haven't liked the channel, please do. Like the video, please do. All that stuff. So what's the one thing you're doing wrong? You are solely listening to generic information. What do I mean by this? I mean that oftentimes when we get caught up in a dogma or in a diet culture or a health culture, we tend to only take in generic information. We tend not to take the time to think about the nuance of the subject. When it comes to diet, when it comes to women's health, you have got to be able to look at nuance. Why? One, women's biology is very different than male biology. Especially when we get in nutrition. Nutrition is very binary. It really doesn't care about anything else. It's like this is just how it is when it comes to how your body functions. It's very binary, okay? Women's health is different than men's health. And even more so than that, women's health gets more nuanced when it comes from one woman to the other. Men tend to be very generic. 24-hour hormone cycle, they rotate, whatever. And get different when it comes to lean muscle mass, fat tissue, how many calories you need throughout the day to maintain, gain, or lose weight, for sure. But it's pretty generic. Women, some cycles are longer than others. Some women have a stronger cortisol response in their luteal phase, which is the last phase of your cycle before you start to menstruate. Some have less of a cortisol response. That may require some carbohydrates. That might require no carbohydrates. You may have a certain amount of skeletal muscle mass that requires a certain amount of protein. You may have a lower amount of gallbladder enzyme secretion, and therefore you don't handle fat as well. You may have genes, genetic factors, that make it to where red meat makes you nauseous, and you're better with chicken and fish. You may find that you're actually really good at digesting oxalates, and your body actually really enjoys the extra fibers. Your gut microbiome, your gut flora, enjoys it. You might find that your gut flora hates anything veggie, and it just wants meat. You may find that you really enjoy both meat and fruit because your gut handles that well. You may find that a spinach salad just makes your day, right? It's about testing things, looking at the nuance. And the worst thing that I see is women on social media listening, to be fair, men too, men and women, because there are women that preach very generic messages that are catchy, that are attractive, that are simple, that cutthroat, cut to the chase. And I'm a woman too, so I know what I'm talking about, blah, blah, blah. Right? So it's not just women. Men do it too. It's not just men. Women do it too. You have to be willing to find people that say, look, this is what works for me. This is why it worked for me. This could work for you, but you could also try X, Y, and Z because this one is not a one-size-fits-all conversation. You don't hear that a lot in the carnivore, low-carb, ketogenic space. And the biggest issue with it is that it makes women feel alone, isolated, and like nothing works for them because they're doing all the right things and they're not getting the results that they want. They're not healing like they should. They don't feel like they should. It's the whole reason I got into the women's health space to begin with. I saw that gap. Like, there's a serious, we're talking about gender gap, there's a serious gender gap in the nutrition space about empowering and educating women on their bodies as unique bio-individuals and empowering them to make choices that work best for them. We're not seeing that. So my piece of advice today is go to your Instagram. If what you're doing right now is not working for you and you've been listening to doctors or nutritionists or dietitians or influencers or whatever, do any of their posts talk about things that work well for a woman? What can you try? What's option A, B, and C? Do they get into the nuance at all and actually give you direction and empowerment to make your own choices? Or do they just tell you very cutthroat ideologies? Something to look into.